Peyton Manning's name out as far as the ESPN job is concerned once Gruden leaves. I would be very, very surprised if he took that job. Why would Peyton Manning, who could have been the number one guy at CBS, could have been the number one guy at Fox. I know they like Aikman, but if Manning was available, they'd at least maybe think about putting Manning in the booth with Aikman. And, of course, he probably could have worked with NBC. They could have done that. He's Peyton Manning. But definitely for CBS, minimum. Why would he then go to ESPN, who has the worst schedule out of the four networks that do the NFL? CBS, Fox, and NBC, they are number 4 by a long shot. They have no chance to do a Super Bowl. They're never going to get one. They get one wild card playoff game, and there's a lot of December Monday nights when he's doing, Houston at Jacksonville. Why would he want that job? When he could have taken a CBS job last year and done Super Bowl 53. That's the job. Why would he want that job at ESPN? So I don't see him going there to do the games. It seems to me Peyton's doing very well right now, doing the nationwide commercials and doing his thing that he doesn't want to necessarily. And it has nothing to do with Sean. I just don't think he wants to. There's no secret, folks. The ESPN, that's 4th on the totem pole as far as the NFL is concerned. ESPN needs the NFL a hell of a lot more than the NFL needs ESPN. They do not need ESPN. That's why ESPN gets the garbage games. That's why they get the 4:30 game on Saturday afternoon in the wild card. They never get a divisional game. They never get a championship game. And they will never get a Super Bowl. Never in a million years. So that job I'd be stunned if you're taking it. And having said that, I have no problem, and I know a lot of people have screamed about this, the fact that Gruden is doing a game this week and it involves an AFC West team in Kansas City, that he should be taken off the game because he's going to be the next Raider coach, that's a bunch of nonsense. All right, it's one lousy game. It's 5 days away. He hasn't taken a Raider job yet anyway. It's the Chiefs. They're going to have a different quarterback next year to begin with. I don't think Andy Reid's his best friend. So, he loves Andy Reid. Loves him. So I don't think Reid has any issues with it. I don't think Clark Hunt does. So to me, that is not that big a deal. That he's going to do Titans and Chiefs Saturday at 4:30 and then next week be the introducer of the Raiders coach, and somehow he has insight to the Chief job. Come on now. Or the Chief team or personnel. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's ridiculous. Those are people out there who got, you got to come up with something a little better than that. It's one lousy game. It's a wild card round. It's a 9-7 team against another mediocre Chief team. That is not that big a deal. So I want to make sure I get that on the board too. Lots to do today. Get you started. Here's John in Cleveland. He says hello first. John, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Fine, Chris. How are you, buddy?
All right, Johnny. Nice to talk. What's on your mind now?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I agree with you 100% about Gruden. I've never found him to be any great coach. For that matter, if I could get somebody off of television, I'd rather have Bill Cowher than I would him. But anyway, my main reason for calling Chris,
the difference is that Cowher doesn't want to coach again. His kids are grown up. He loves living in New York. He's in a perfect situation at CBS. He's probably making a couple of $1 million a year. It's not a lot of work. It's 17 weeks a year, Friday to Sunday. It's not heavy lifting. He watches football, eats his pizza, and says hello to Boomer for a couple minutes and goes off the air. It's not that difficult. Anybody can do it. It's a 20-second soundbite scenario. It's not. I got to be honest. That is now you got to be able to sound like a coach and occasionally explain something, but it's not that difficult. He's not leaving that job right now. He's won his Super Bowl. Now he's not going to the Hall of Fame, because he doesn't have another one and another run in him. But that is a situation where I don't think he's ready to go back. I don't think he will. So there you go. Next, go ahead.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's stress-free. He loves it. Anyway, Chris, you've been around sports, forever. You've seen everything happen in the last 45, 50 years, everything. Okay? So just hear me out. You're the owner and the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. What do you do with those first 2 picks they have?
That's a very good question. They are definitely going to draft. They are definitely going to draft a quarterback. I don't know who that quarterback is going to be. That quarterback.
Who would you like to have?
I would probably take Darno. I know everybody's making a big deal about his performance in the bowl game. I would take Darno if he comes out. I think his size, his physicality, his arm is going to work in the NFL. I think Rosen's going to be good too. So don't get me wrong. But if I had a choice, I'd take Darno. And then I'll tell you, John, that fourth pick, if they have a chance, now they have a good defense. They're building the team properly. They are a much better team than 0-16. That team has got better talent than 0-16. They are the Browns. If they had better quarterback play, the Browns would have had a much better year. They lost in overtime to Tennessee. They lost 2 close games to Pittsburgh. They had a lead at halftime against Minnesota. They lost in overtime to Green Bay. I mean, they could have been a lot better than they turned out to be. Let's call it like we see it. With a better quarterback, they would have won 5 games. And they are going to have the 4th pick. Now, he may be gone, but I would take the running back out of Penn State if it's me. Now, Indianapolis might take him. Okay, Barkley goes to Indy with the 3rd pick. But that's what I would do. I would take Darno and Barkley. Boy, I'll tell you right now, you could get some people revved up in Cleveland if you end up on draft day with either quarterback. But with Darno and Barkley, Barkley's a hell of a player. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can kick off return. He showed me a lot by playing in that last game when he didn't have to against he could have been hurt. A lot of these guys take that last week off. He did not. He played against Washington. That showed me a lot. Everybody says he's a good kid. That's what I would do. I would take a QB and a running back. Now the running back you may not be able to get because Indianapolis might get him, but that's what I would do. That would be my first goal. Here's Mark in Louisville, Kentucky. He's with us here. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed as we say hello. Mark, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, Chris. How you doing today?
Fine, Marky. Thank you. What's happening now?
Well, I'm talking about the Bengals for a moment. You know, the Bengals didn't have that bad of a season. You got the games against Green Bay, the games against Tennessee, and the game against Pittsburgh where they kind of lost in the last few minutes of the game. You could easily be looking at a 10-6 season and them heading into the playoffs.
No, listen, I can't go that far because the Bengals always lose those kind of games where, they're right on the cusp of doing a nice job. I just like the way the Bengals finished because they showed a little gumption for a change against Detroit to a degree. And then, of course, big-time gumption there on Sunday against Baltimore. So from that standpoint, that would make me think twice about bringing in a different coach. And again, one more time, it's not like they were going to bring in a Hall of Fame head coach, folks. They were going to bring in some assistant that you've never heard of and keep their fingers crossed it was going to work out. Now, I understand he's never won a playoff game and they're coming off a couple of bad seasons. I get all that. But, he doesn't have, Daryl LaMonica as his QB. Keep that in mind. So from that perspective, that doesn't bother me as much as normally it would. Here's Chris, and he's in Tampa, and he's aboard here. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Hello there, Christopher. What's on your mind today? Go ahead.
Hey, Chris. How are you today?
All right there, Christopher. Nice to have you aboard. What's going on?
All right. Just back to work today at University of Tampa, a couple weeks ahead of when your son comes back.
No, he's been down there. My son has been down there with the basketball team. He went down there on the 27th, so he has been down there all by his lonesome for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a few more people around the university starting yesterday and today. But listen, with Gruden, his resume, okay, yeah, obviously he got the Super Bowl with Tampa. All right, but as far as the wins and losses, I mean, his resume is going to look a lot better when you isolate Oakland. All right, and you have to remember that in Oakland, so Gruden obviously knows a lot about both sides of the football, but it's no secret to anybody that he's an offensive guru, especially with the quarterback. Okay, and he had an MVP in Oakland in Rich Gannon. Okay, and he had Jerry Rice, a lot of other talent around the football. I think Joey Galloway might have been in there at one point. I don't have my computer in front of me. But when he was with Tampa, okay, his quarterbacks ranged from Brad Johnson to Chris Sims. He had Keyshawn Johnson at the end of his career. Mike Williams, that didn't work out there. He had to go out to Seattle, and he had a couple of good years before he was forced out of the league. So, he got traded into Tampa, Chris, and a roster that obviously the talent flowed out, during his time there. So, you have to definitely take that into perspective. But I did want to ask you.
Listen, I think Gruden's a pretty good coach, but the way you hear people talk with his little quarterback stuff that he does on ESPN, people seem like, and I like Gruden on TV. Remember, I'm a Gruden fan, but I got to be fair. Gruden has not proven yet that he's some big time head coach. All right, he's okay. He's decent. He won a Super Bowl.
He's going to have the opportunity.
No, he's got a quarterback. He's got a quarterback to work with. Davis is going to leave him alone. Right. He can do anything he wants. He's 52 years of age. He's hungry enough still. I'm not saying he's not going to be successful, Christopher, but let's not put him out there now as that somehow they got the Holy Grail. This is not a guy who's won a lot in his career. I mean, let me get my book for a second before we get Shackle in. I can't ask Eddie to do this because Eddie's lost, and Eddie doesn't know enough about football. But if you look at Gruden for a second, let's look at Gruden before we get Justin, who's the best update guy at the place. We got him a raise, thank God. He was broke, and Torrey finally put a little raise in, and so we got. Anyway, Gruden in laugh there, Justin. Gruden with the Raiders was 40-28. All right. 40-28. And what do you think? That's Lombardi? Was with the Raiders. And then with Tampa, now he won a Super Bowl. With Tampa, he was 16-57. The guy's 15 games over 500. I mean, my God, he's not on. This is not you know what Madden was in his career? You want me to give you Madden? You want me to give you Madden? Do you want me to give you Madden? Eddie, do you want me to give you Madden? I'm sure we're doing this all over the place on radio in America. Let me give you Madden. Madden, in his career, since he's now in the Hall of Fame, Madden is 112-39. All right? 112-39, and Gruden's 12-14 games over. I mean, you would have thought, if you listen to people, Torrey included, that this is the greatest coach in the history of the Oakland Raiders. He's got a lot to prove as far as I'm concerned. Justin's a sports bite. Mad Dog Unleashed.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.